Samala ani nimechala ani nimadelishwa chapchikto ani ngarang mingla na pemongel lagyore ani nga dana ani rumtek shirani dopten thars yin shwei andring ni ngi jeshi digarna tangi jeshi la nemendo ngaso disingi jeshi digarla wena ani mokham rikpadang nangchigi mangshi saden dang rangshin lai ditola ani sangi ka korang shizungni ani dordi ma shwegi tapchigi ins.
My name is Pema Wangil. I just recently graduated from my monastery. It's called Rumtek Monastery. And today I would like to say a few lines about the fundamentals of Buddhism based on the actual teachings of the Buddha himself.
다 아니 ngansu desengi dana jeshi didi ani ngokam rikpa dang nangpegi mangshi gi tsaden da rangshin ani dikhe disane ngokam rikpegi mangshi da tsaden gi kola dana ani genla cheni ba khorangi pemis shipta jine ani sungnangso ani da digitela ani ngansu desengi khasang ngansu da dudurla ne mindu ngansu gi tadi karji or lawena sangi khorangi ka shizung jine dana sangi gi dana la karsung yo lana sangi gi chitangi che mongbu sung yo re de imbai na yang tamal dom jawena ngansu chigi dom shilane 양민나 아니 간조다서 타와 까다기 착자시 착자 실라이더와 아니 가서 두지 탐지입니다 봐 자치 탐지 등을와 체탐지 동신 다음에 봐 양엘레데 봐 시와 올라니 아니 디기나라 dom자는 디교레스.
The topic for this particular panel discussions is the nature and the fundamental principles of both physics and Buddhism. So the previous presenter talked about the nature and the fundamental principles from the physics point of view. So if when we talk about the fundamental principles and nature of Buddhism, actually Buddha taught many teachings during his lifetime. But at the end of his life, he summarized all of his teachings in 4 lines, and these 4 lines are what we called 4 seals of Buddha Dharma. So the first seal of the Buddha Dharma is all compounded things are impermanent in nature. And the second one is all contaminated things are suffering in nature. The third one is all phenomena are empty and devoid of self. And the fourth one is nirvana is true peace. So these 4 lines are what we call the 4 seals of Buddha Dharma, and that is the foundational principles of all the Buddha's teachings.
다 데니기 아니가사 타와 까다기 착자 시나로라 다나 두지 탐지 미다바 자치 탐지 등멸 wal라윤 전에 데니 디기 jel라갈려는 체탐지 동신 다음에 봐 디숨 디 가르셔를 나가 주기다나 시기 남샤 시기올은 디기오레스 시기 남샤 다 아니 냥일레 디바 시오 라이 디갈라나 만주 데불라샤나 디기오레스 데부 냥일레 디바 시오라 냥데라 디 상기 고방다오지 디 톱자 데부샤나 디기오레스 디인산에 대기쇼바 아니 간주 게실 하돌라기 아니 두지 탐지 미다바이마 미다바인단디 아니 치장 두지 라디고 수치 오보직 불러 마임바 아니 간주 남진기 미스단 저와 예비가 아니 칼럽 자진 자치와 미다바이 콜라 송송스 아 페페노 예바 디 송나와디 아니 당예 양자 슈마와지 아니 다나 자치 탐지 등열와시 전에 지단기 좋아수다 수이면은 등열 메바지 자원이 요 말레스 다 작지 주딩기 강사이면은 콜 아니 등열 요 말레스.
So out of these 4 seals, first 3 seals are related with what we call the nature of the phenomena, and Geshe Hakdullah in this morning talked in great details about the nature of impermanence and how impermanence is very much important to our daily practices and daily way of our living. Then the fourth seal, that is nirvana, is true peace. So this talks about the result of actually understanding the previous 3 seals, or the results of understanding what is the reality.
다동직 슈베나 아니 다기 아니 공기 지강 쏨딜라 나 두지 탐지 미다바 사치 탐지 둥열와 드니 체담진 동신 담에 발란디고서 디나라 아니 시 댕이 중주디 땡겨라네 마디바 요마레스 드니 다 냥이네 디바 시월라 디 디비차이 바제 다디 제부디 만수기 톱 루마지 레스 디 마톱 모토비아치 마레스 만수기 게스 베신제 이마나 디 톱투기 레스 톱 루마지레 다디 톱연자니 가렐라티니 톱기레 라디가수 만수기 람디고 교레스 디 람디가르나 상기 고 송샤비 체디레스 다 상기기 송샤비 체디 가르레 라와이나 아니 상기 코랑기다나 송샤비기 아니 꼰주지링기 도나라 아니 담베치니 토마르게와 바르도게와 타마르게와 라이 라소바디 송샤바디 요레스 디간낭신기 아니 디럽 순빈나라 페샤베이다나 로빈 아레데왈나 민도 다 아니 파발라기 갈숭요라나 체네 도나 미세와 대신시반남기 송라이디레스.
So this first three seals, since it is talking about the nature of reality or the nature of the phenomena, we can also say that the concept of two truths are mainly based on these three Dharma seals. And by understanding or the practicing these three seals, then the end result is you attained the fourth seal, that is the nirvana. And from that point of view, it is understandable that nirvana is achievable. And then if nirvana is achievable, then if you ask how you will going to achieve nirvana, then we have to talk about the path. And when we need to talk about the path, then if you ask what is the path, then all the teachings of the Buddha are the path. And as we have said yesterday, when we talk about the teachings or the Dharma, we always say that the Dharma is peace in the beginning, Dharma is peace in the middle, and Dharma is peace in the end. So that means Dharma is the path that will going to lead you to this nirvana or the liberation or the enlightenment. And also there are like other quotations. For example, there's one quotation from Aryadeva, one of the great Indian scholars, who said that the ultimate summary of the meaning of Dharma is non-violence, and that was taught, hence that's what taught by the Buddha. So that is through this kind of teachings and quotations we can understand that practicing Dharma is the path that will going to lead to the nirvana.
다 딘디길 치디 라나민도 람 다디나라 람디 가셔는 람 총이 중주샤네 디교레 디가나신 람 탑시 중주샤네 디교레스 다디 아니 냠린 간데스 치고레 라와이나 디양 상기 코랑기 까나라 가르수요라나 아니 딕바찌야 미제신 기와핀 좀 소바지 랑기 셈네 용수들 디니 상기 템바이 있는 숭요레스 디기 가르땡겨라나 치단기 레가 가레지와나다 쪼디 가르즈나 아니 소소기 셈 둘레기 치도 지고레스 냠린 체징 칭숨 가리 마세 가리지와나다 다 체당 저와 이주기 아니 람내민도 소속이 미세단 저와 이주기 아니 레가 가리지와네 쪼디 소속이 셈 둘레기시도 지고 그래스 셈 둘고 줌센데 아니 다기 아니 쇼바 나시 게실 하돌라기 아니 칼롭 나라 페미시 잡진 저와 자지와 순소 안디나라 양자 슈마고제.
So when we talk about practicing the path, path can be categorized into two categories. One is the method path, and the other one is the wisdom path. And we always emphasize on the importance of using or having these together all the time to have the maximum benefit. And then when we talk about this method and the wisdom, and Buddha said that commit no unwholesome deeds, commit wholesome deeds in full, tame your mind in its entirety. This is the teaching of Buddha. That means along the path or the practicing the Buddha Dharma, the most important thing to do is to tame your mind, to turn your mind. And about that topic, Geshe Lagdul in this morning talk about how our mind is kind of very elusive and how it is important to turn your mind. So because of that, since it is related with the path to enlightenment or the nirvana, that's why Geshe-la and we in Buddhism we emphasize a lot of things on taming the mind.
다 아니 상기기 가서 시 댕이기 nel룩당 대하나시 람 총이다 탑시 종주기 nel룩 람디수숭 대하나시 딜람 염술랑 바이나 아니 다 데부드니 냥디 톱기리엘란 숭요레 다디 숭 전에 원속이 염링 가르지고라나 아니 다동상기 코란 가르스나 이년네 켈라 타르비 탑땡기 타바랑라랑 레시퍼기 라디고스 다디 냠렌디 수이제나 톱기리라나 상기 예바점기 디기오 말에 니 냠렌 심바기 지와점 디기오 말에 소수민 게르랑 라나소소 레레기 문이 지고교레스.
So Buddha taught us about the realities of nature, and then he taught about what is the path to get what you want to achieve, that is nirvana. And then ultimately Buddha said that it is only up to our individuals to practice the path in order to get the enlightenment, and you won't get enlightenment by somebody else doing the path or the practice for on your behalf.
다 디지시라 미드선이 아니 얘기다나디 아니 가사치 냠렌디 간디치고리라 다 둥둥둥지고니 슈에인스 다디 둥디페나 나가모 베나라 아니 가사코 체슈디 첼라페 데바이긴 슈디이긴 지당고 라마체네 말라마 수살라도네 체슈나 야사리 삼닉 파케지디고 수 데니 아니 콩라 데니 데와이지 미치기갈라나 사제 데니 타 리모지라 아니 사제 넬주르베 똑바 냠도 이긴 지요레스 디살라도에나 키라나 치 운니 잡신자치와 칠라소바 라기레스 아니 거기 디네스디 고네 거기 바체슈가 도레스 도연자네 달라마디 가디오 나조바디 간디올나 쇼게 야 샹와단 람상 아니 고 자마 나네나 수 킹롤라 디 자마 자라네 다나 마주 자마 존네 다디 자분당 라소바 간주 디 조연자네 딱바로 쇼게니 셴니 디 존 슈디두스 디네 공다 차디고스 가르치려나 디네 아라 약다시신 로 아라 빼 망부시니 데코 라지 디네 라지네 디가르지라니 코페 미시 셰당 바 디네 디강라 코 자마디 세상 cap 디네 크롱이 깨메당 디네 코다 넬조바 인상 코로 상염다 디 세세 모부요레스 디 차상님도 축바 잡 디네 지기요레스 디네 이마 딱바르 디네 지디 로마디 가스라네 콜라 코살네 다와카시 망부 친자레스 다와 망부 친자레스 다동 치숭에 민두스 이마 딱바르 디지레마도 깨제식지 숭에 민두스 디순자네 로마디 타말라 우퉁네 당아 파치 딜라마디 야보민두 록도가사레 삼당네 딜라말라 공바슈레스 라말랑아다 데마 록도기스 카르진이 킬라 체 라마스엘라데 라마기갈라 세직 식지 소에민 도아스 딜라브레스.
So at the end I would like to tell a story. In Tibet once there was a person and a practitioner, and so he wanted to seek teachings from a teacher, and he was looking for a proper teacher, and one day he got introduced to a yogi, and yogi has he's a married person, he has his own family. So when that student got to the teacher's place, he found out that that teacher during the daytime, every morning he wakes up and started making pots, and during the evening time he used that pots to drink chang, alcohol, and then after some time he gets drunk and he breaks all the pots that he made during the daytime, and not only he breaks the pots, but he ends up beating his wife and kids. And so that kind of situation went on for a month, and then one day the student realized that this is not my teacher, so he thought that I should better get away from here, and then he went to the teacher and said, "No, I'm leaving you, I need to go somewhere else to find my teacher." And then teacher asked why you are leaving, and then he said, "No, it has been a month, and there's no one single word that I learned from you."
다 로마기 라마라 가르치려나가 딜랄레니 다와 망부친사손 케깅알라 책 최라이 책직송 마송을 라레스 디순데 라마기 국바 케스 얘기 두지 탐지 가서 체탐지 두지 탐지 주길레 중화 레달라이치도 하고 해치도 니마 딱바 쇼게 yar랑와니 자마조레스 드니 두지 탐지 미딱 버레다 지도 하고에 지도라 니 공다 딱 버디 자마디 강조하디 마좀 레스 폴라땅 레스 로 되니 다 작시 탐지 둥을와 레라 하고에 지도 가 이마 딱 버 게메다 부구디 둥다지 니 둥을지기 오레스 케 다둥디 하마고나 디체마이나 디카르스다 디렐라 베체지 상기게 깔랭이 마레스 갑자기 약대시 난데 로마 대가랑 걸고 라마라 뱀is 데바케네 아니 차세네 대가랑 라마 상기 라마 상기 송오스 진레 데바디 아니 딜레레스
So when students said that, and then teacher said that, so for past 1 month, every morning when I was making the pots, I was actually trying to show that all the compounded phenomena are created because of its cause and conditions. And then in the evening time, when I break my pots and beat my family, I am also at that time I'm trying to show you that all the contaminated things are suffering in nature. So through that way, I was trying to show you the teachings of Buddha in my practice, and you still saying that you didn't learn anything from me. But actually there's nothing that, even if you go to the Buddha, there's nothing that you're going to learn other than what I have been shown. So that means you are a very stupid student. So just by saying that, the student realized that, oh, now I have been mistaken, and then he become very kind of devoted towards that teacher, and he took that teacher as his own root guru, root teacher.
다디 냠린 찍빠찌장로 먼저 gonde 칼라 가와토네 케나수기 아니 곤바 가와라 페바이 나양 통기레스 페나 다와디수 토마에 페 칼레 잡는 조겨 토마 kilkhor디수 칼레 잡는 조겨다 토마 단 kilkhor 조엘 렐라부 짜와니 요마레 페나 나토웨나 야부 조야 시기 마르디 장용 코라미 지단 키호단 디수기 틱세 테스 장레 마토 조엘 페 미스 칼레 요 당포 칼레 잡잡 소교르다 타말라 tor고로 녀퍼 tor고거다 시고거디 디 가르친거는 당보 주kiến 중와 체담지 나 상기 가로 고랑기 까날 가서는 체남담지 줄리 중으로와 드니 체담지 줄리 중어 센질라 당보 깔리 좀 조고거 타말라 녀퍼도 좀고 tor식장 고디 가르친거는 미탁 바 센질 디 팀비치도 아니 곰바 가와라 도에네 tor마 조거 당보 깔리 잡 소소 타말라 돌아땅 고거다 돌고 그래. 디샤예요 말. 디 전에 디수 차상 가지고 이말 레레신도 냠낸 자기 얼마도 아니 냠낸 탱마치지도 자기 말에스. 페 디나스다 니에기 디 가르진이 아니 페센 다기 둥디 가르진 시레라 바이나. 다기 퀀텀 피지क्स 나라 가르실나 shut up and calculate 라서. 라 퀀텀 피지क्स 나라 디레. 다 가지고 사이 부다 나라 quotation 서버 조에나 silence and observe your life 랜드리. 다 가지고 졸링기 지시디 갈라나 따십라와 따십다 네슬라 디고서 observation and reality 라라 observe 가르지 고래 가지고 미시디 observe 지고 그래스 미슬라 따십 지고 그래 제상 카숨 따십지 제상 야 밍니 샤도야라 par 리몰라 가지고 밍니요라 야고 파수 따고 그래스 가지고 미슬라 가르두 데니 파수 가르시기도 체지수 민고라 암중니요라 제상 멍포따 멍풍닌 이제 융융시에 제상 가지고 카직마도요 말 밍니요라 암중니요래 디 가르치 생겨나 따십 멍포지고야당 멍풍인 거 생겨래스.
So at the end, what I would like to say is that even today, if you visit monasteries, you will see monks making ritualistic symbols like mandala. And even though it takes a lot of hard work, for me even like I don't know how to make a proper mandala, but still it takes a lot of time to learn how to make mandala. And after you're done with making a mandala, it looks very beautiful, but we don't keep it like that way. At the end, we destroyed everything that we has created. So the Christian part represents law of causality in our tradition, and the destroying at the end represents impermanence. And these two are very important concepts in Buddhist traditions. And then at the end, what I would like to say is that when I was listening to the quantum physics presentations, then there's one way of interpreting quantum mechanics who says that now shut up and calculate. So now if I coined a new kind of motto for the Buddhists, I would say that keep silent and observe. So even for the topic is observation and reality. And when you look at the logo up there, you see 2 eyes. So that means like we have 2 eyes and we have 2 ears. That it shows that observation is very important. Even though we have 2 eyes and 2 ears, we only have 1 mouth. That means you should not speak much. So I'm going to stop speaking here.
타마디 가르스나 다 디인자네로와 가서 등일링 버티 간데 하고는 당봉아서 끼디자네 하고 그랬어요. 배나 뿌꾸 껴와다 나서 무기를 마또 가기 말어와. 디 가르친 걸 가서 미슬라 강엘레 바다 강엘라 랩송 등엘라 랩송다 무기어레스. 로와 찍지. 다 상기기 가르테리라웨나 아니 상기기로 안줄라 배나 아니 낭종테요 말다 낭종라네. 잉리지레 호막 라이다 호막테요 말 상기기. 이네 상기기 가르테리라나 간주 미스치라 레카 스테샤레. 디 가르라나 테니코 message nangalata ngima takpar khol message la taship jela dire. So I want to end up in my English titigla la karzana ngi di ngarang tan chik di or tagi diro ti samo tangi tan di sanga inji ngarang shugin normally so we can come to know that our life is suffering because when we are born, everybody born by crying, not by laughing, because we know it that we are already came to the world which we will going to suffer. So I want to conclude my talks on saying that lastly what I want to mention is that Buddha didn't give us a homework, but he have given us the lively work that we have to observe our daily life. So this is our not a homework but lifetime work. So we have to always observe our life. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Pema, and thank you, Ted. So we will now open up the panel for questions and discussion. So if there are panelists who have questions, please.
So I think my comments would be related to from Ted's talk and also my understanding about Buddhism so far. So I think that's. I think we can we change to the slides before that?
You want to turn it off or
No,
turn it
no.
back?
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So it has like six categories that he talks about: predictive, precise, empirical, observer, independent, and so on. I think an interesting part is the preciseness of like science. I feel like in Buddhism there is a word saying that you can't describe things by words. So I would accept it as there's no preciseness in that sense. It's hard to explain things. Yeah, and maybe that's yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's it. So then the second one is the empirical, which is like based on the measurement. This is like in science. And what I think about in Buddhism is more, the measurement is more like, I don't know, meditation or thinking, trying to make connection between things and so on. But the fourth one, which is the observer independent, I feel like Buddhism is quite dependent on individual. Like I'm not sure he just say, it's like observer dependent because each person has his own way of doing things, trying to get to their own wisdom. So that's one thing. And then the last one, which I think is quite important, I think. So in science, it's always come with the change of truth. New person can come up with a new theory, and the old theory can just be thrown away. But in Buddhism, I feel like there's a lot of like, oh, this is what Buddha say. Oh, this is what Buddha say. Maybe can we, I feel like there's a lot of like constraint in Buddhism. It could be changed or it could be improved a lot by using a lot of scholars or trying to improve the truth for, yeah. Thank you.
Again, ted keje she dil shi sha chengarang ki samju khaji she ko samsung chizada gel ted khorang ki ani jushi mandawa ani thuk tol she swas chiza dik nanglo la tanda jushi niwa di ani ngom sin tserik nanglo la ani tsenje kapsula ani tsenje ne ani she sha wa dik ani tikje jorwa ta dik man dik tseshi di ani be da tho shi ju yore seje ani keje she swas chizada di ngara tanda badula ani nangjuk nanglola ani ta lumye chin ha ko di shil shavin bena ani ta kharsi wurta dini daw khazes yume ki chade mixe nga shiwshe tu samares di jela niwa di ani ngusum se jorota ngum sirik nanglola ani kharimbe na ya ani kira takchik nanglola ani ngusum ku thoya yugochi ani ngusum ku thoya yu di keje she kapsula situ se dik nang li yores cheza ta di ke chimbo chari yoros cheza da di nangchu nanglol she wimbe na ngzu chik gom che da ani nyamne che ki ani chashi dinzu ku khondol la tang bimbe na ani ngarang ki ani dig yores sam gudus ani shiwadela ani tsiri ki ani neju danzu changma ani yuje la madhubaji gures sigir was chazadi ani nangju da dis mandawa chadi yor samgudus khajin labi benan nangju ku nanglo la gom nyamle ta ani susu ki jul tokba kharchi gi mena dinzo ani khangsa susu ki ani thangbo gi nywa chadi yor ma do di mi shenda ani dinde nyamchu cheya chi me wasonza ani nangju dan siri ni neju dik thola ani dis ta dokjo do mandawa do resam gudus thamadela ani ngi kitanda thubadi kolchi shevin bena ani dendun sia din senrik nanglon phongju dures thanda demba khang sungba di ani maung bala demba mai be nedan la cha dures sia din senrik nanglon la shigi yor tena shi gumzen del tenen senrik nanglon ta yarge doyak nizu dizo yungu yor was chiza ta di nangju nanglon la ngarang samtu chevin ben tis manda re do samgudus nangju nanglon khadu bena nizu chi tudu sambo di tembe sungre de tembe sungre sidu sambala tembe sungya kyang she didu sambala ani yarge doya mege do surgudus chik china ya chik dola nanga thanda ta 망부 로존치 냠십치 투더치 be 토네 아니 냠만 템백시 샤교 이나 교와 타야 딘데 디아르게 드야 금시 딘데 예 시리기 레스디 마 하코마스 시나타 나랑게 삼주 딘데 로지스
I mean, this is not to just defend Buddhism, okay? I also have that kind of feeling, little bit of that feeling. And I think 2 years back we had a meeting with some scientists, and there was a young, very energetic scientist. He in fact, when I gave a talk, he asked me that question, that Buddhism, what is new? What kind of new thing you have during the last many years? In science, every time, every year, we are discovering and finding new things, and said like that. He very boldly challenged me saying that. So I tried to be very gentle, smile and just give a very simple answer. The next day also he repeated that. Then my anger came. Then I said, don't get defended. This is just for the sake of discussion. Then I answered by saying, yes, you're right. You come up with many new things, but you have no direction. Whereas in Buddhism we have one direction. That direction is enlightenment. And we are all moving towards that. In science, today you have something, tomorrow you have something. Where are you going? Who is the pilot? And then also, like, what you said is really very interesting to observe. As I said, I'm not trying to defend it. Like, it is not that whatever the Buddha said, everybody just said blindly, yes, yes, yes. But they tested it, experimented it, they found it truth, and they followed it. And as I cited this quotation this morning, emptiness will be emptiness forever. We don't have to change it. So if you are able to understand, realize that, I don't think anybody can say impermanent, today impermanent, after some years scientific experiment, then it becomes permanent. Or today they're suffering, then after a few years experiment, it becomes happiness. So there are basic kind of really truthful findings which I don't think have to change. Because we are not doing this exercise as a fashion, to come up with new things. Again, this is an attack, honestly speaking. because we need to be honest. Sometimes, we all have this tendency, especially like some other fields, oh, he has been saying this, but I discovered new thing, you know. So to say it something, you know, differently, you get more recognition. That also happens in human world, not only among the scientists, but among other, you know, disciplines also it is possible. So, I mean, there's one thing. Then another important point that I wanted to make, citing an important quotation from Nagarjuna, is he clearly said that negative actions and afflictive emotions, which are our real problems, arise from uncontrolled conceptual thoughts, discursive thoughts. And all these countless fabrications, fightings, you know, divisions, you know, they come from conceptual thoughts, countless conceptual thoughts. And there should be a method to settle down these conceptual thoughts so that we are able to remain in peace, in harmony. And that is understanding shunyata. Everything will be peaceful in that ultimate state of shunyata. So that also, I think, probably points to some direction. You know, if you really want to settle many of this, not just fighting in the battlefield, but also many kind of highs and lows. You know, the unchecked swinging of pendulum, you know, today very happy, tomorrow very sad, you know, depression, loneliness, low self-esteem. All these are coming from where? Because of unchecked greed, unchecked mental thought, mental conceptions. So in terms of controlling those mental discursive thoughts, a proper technique has been taught. So in that sense, you know, Buddhism can be trusted as a reliable line of thinking. But at the same time, I agree with you that there are modifications needed. That's why we are having this dialogue. We need to probably, you know, see the same thing in a different viewpoint and come up with new findings, new examples. That's why we are having this dialogue. Yeah.
And also, not all Buddha's teachings are definitive. Some are interpretative.
Exactly. Then among Buddha's teaching also there's definitive teaching, interpretative teaching. In the case of Buddha's teaching, there are two levels, definitive teaching and interpretative teaching. Because of having observed countless varieties of mental dispositions and needs, Buddha realized that he cannot give all kinds of teaching, the ultimate teaching to everybody. Like, he cannot teach the PhD subject to kindergarten students. So therefore, like for example, there is a particular teaching to a king, Ajatashatru, who killed his father. And having killed his father, he found that this is a heinous crime, and he sunk into depression. And then he was looking for a solace. And then somebody said, the only person who can solve your problem and, you know, make you come out of this depression is the Buddha. Go to him. And he goes to the Buddha with this big depression. And then Buddha said, so what is wrong there? Father and mother are to be killed. Because he was trusting Buddha, then he, at least for the time being, he came out of his depression. Then when he came back to his senses, then the Buddha said, sit down. When I said father and mother to be killed, I'm not talking about your physical father and mother. I'm talking about ignorance and contaminated action, which produces all other negative children, you know. So these are to be killed if you want to purify your negative. So these are skillful ways of teaching. So they are not ultimate. They are definitive. Tangi tuzu mangpuche mogoche ningdu chik phege na sheba ina. Tanda Quran ki tewa tangi dusu nanglo la tebena nangchun jurwa hiran duhme dewa chik. Tsending jurwa hiundo dewa chik. Tas di sungu yorwa. Ta dembe cha chik duwa di. Pena nangchun ina yangse sanje ke sungde gombo ludo sungde se long chanja thang de madog. Susu di la sarwa tewa hida xie jume wa do sarwa. Choji domxie se rawa. Da sangma takwa chikba dawa je xie de khonsu la kham duwa. Tende labke mangpo yungu do. 다 로니 심베 세릭베 돌린 찍라 ngal 티티와데 땅소 저라서 낭조라 서버 찍아 해야면도 가디는 찍바 찍자는데 가려서 다 서버 가려서 찍 랍셔다 근데 식도 그 로션현제 그 세릭바제 그 인지 약부 잡긴 지요 땅에 디 가르서다 시제시에 먹어지 니만 당고 등에 담시에 지도 그 데이트 랍스 engin jamboore je hiende ko phone yakbu yo mar samni kha de chewa imba ya niman niwa de ko de hegdos tininga tes barsung tininga ko lines re dembares sarwa ke yo mar sina ngazo khapjo yores khapjo chikle dogu yore khapjo de karsen sanji kombanse dil ko shaja dogu lamga jore de dogu yores chodu miri mandre lab chiki khar dogu chiki nub dogu se chodu mi yu kharyo khawle gres ngi lawe chwa Teacher Lavi de Consul Council and Nakoche Kijame, Unit in the Doji Yungudoa, Yungduta Pala Lugilin, Sula Lugilin, Tangazula Penachita, Tating in the Hijabe Carjars and the Sanjum de Sung de Semare. Semayiba de Lamgar do Norguyamar, Yena de Norman Nordea, Co Tachi Majachin, and the Kepatunga, Mobile Shajo de Lasso, Landrosha de Marwa. Kunduke Chebachin, Tata Yanda Resha, Semareshas and Rodigore, what Sema in the Jagoya Yomaris. This how the Rina channels the Dembare channels this the Hijab down there, Lakbard and the Chick Dutin Court, the Sarama, which of the Lugi Lane in the Yungurova. Then the Lugi Lane, you're not channels Yam to Den and the Doling Shade Giores or the Labiorova. This you do that, Duzuki Tonda Kartingers and Anzuke, Sanjik Sung, the Jurajam Nesogue, then the Yumekanshi, the Yakbochi Tove Tone, anything Sanki Milafa Shidu, that's Tendiki Tony in the Tendiki. That turned the Karina, Sevulam, the Daraduchi to be the Suzuki Misena of Hingiyo and Zambuchi Hidil of Hingiyo, and the Sendik in Yedon Karimba, Sanjay Sung, the Sema Yimba, the Duji Yang Datone, Sevu here to which the gas a long Janjatan did the Maimbaji, that in the long joking of the tending go you said it. What didn't it hear Dimba?
Okay.
Maybe it'll be 10 seconds. I'm just going to say that, so I do want to slightly point out the fact that I believe firmly, and I think science holds to this, that there are things in science and physics that don't change. And as Ted pointed out in his talk, all new theories have to account for all this stuff that the old theories found. So it will always be true that at slow speeds that Newton's laws hold. It's not going to suddenly not be true, and we have to hope that it's not, doesn't that, because that's what we use to design buildings. So.
Tsering nalo limbena gyuwa mandu ne de dinyi chad yores manju ki tsering namsha ningba dinju kang sawa dinju ni yung zambala ani ningba dinju sangma no res yu sha yo mares ningba dinju yewe gang la ani sawa de le yung zambala sawa di ki ningba dinju kin deshi gyawa chasang gya tu wach gu yores di gya tu be gang la ani ne ju sawa deshi gya tu ni gu yu zambala pesha ne nujun ki namsha thanda ina no yo mares kongobu rakbe ki lega chitang ko kon dik di yores.
And my question is just, okay, I'll make it a very simple form. This comes, I'm a small class teacher, so sometimes it comes in this thing, the students. Okay, how can we teach the moral values, moral values to the younger generation when the world leader don't put into the practice themselves, the moral values? That's the thing. Sometimes we find difficult to answer them. The kids, they ask like this type of questions.
Teach by example, I think is the answer.
As you know well.
Because we cannot we cannot change many times the people and how they act out there, and so we have to lead by example in that regard. I think that's the best way.
Mission but dinzu ki choba contesting me the namgyur contesting me dinzu nganzu ki tangjin che tu marwas in da so so jingana yuna so so ki ani konsola sangbo che ko yete pe tembe ko tone lobdi che di ke ji shu cha yore still ha yosamaris tablam.
Showing example, for example, means you can just ask the students, is it better for you to fight or not to fight?
Yes, sir.
Then they will know, normally they say it's better not to fight.
Okay, it's all right.
My question is to the scientist. So as levitation is one thing that has fascinated me in all these years. So my question is there any scientific perspective and evidence explaining levitation?
So yes, you can do levitation with superconducting magnets, in which you basically have a magnet that superconducting effects exclude or produce currents that directly oppose the force of the gravitational force of the object on top of them, and so using superconducting magnets you can actually produce levitation where you can lift things up off the ground. So this.
But what about humans levitating?
You can sit on a superconducting magnet and you can get off the ground.
I just want to add that they've done it with a frog.
So if you can do it with a frog, you can do it with a human. Just need a big magnet.
The morangi theory dereste mikashine namla pirsigine namla ding digose dinjo kolta betanga thona shuchigdus yungdus cheza ane din serik tatam tonte mena min namla puria soro da ya namla ding dia soro dinde yores khande dishi yores kilang khora ki dires namle phir tu res kira ya ding tu res khande ding tu res lavi na kirang ki kup wo de ngarja chimbu cha ores sa go la ngarja chimbu si kup wo ngarja chimbu si dini kha do cho den de we na ngarja di shu chi chi ani ya nam cha di res an gela shemba di ki thanda di ani thanda di chi so mema bewa den de nganju ngarja kan sha chi nam cha den de che tu yores che zata ngarja de cher tan me ya cha tu res shemba thamlam yesa mares.
Please.
Actually, I have some comment, but in time I'm going to only one. Regarding to quoting to the TED, you are quoting for the one of the famous the Richard Feynman quote. One of my favorite quote too. But at the same time, it's keeping in my cell phone always. At the same time, we have a quote from Buddha called how to translate Kishila Sikje Tarwe Serishin de Legwata Langayika Langache Kuchirme.
There's a quote by Buddha where he says, "O bhikshus and scholars, just as the goldsmith judges the gold by cutting, rubbing, and putting under the fire, similarly examine my teaching and accept them, not because you respect me."
So that's, I think it goes to same lens. Okay, I will say a little bit of clarification because it's when you scientists talk about the natural principle or fundamental principle, which really means when TEDx explaining of method of learning science or how theory come up or something like that. But when Geshe-la talking about natural principle, Buddhist is more like, four forces of nature, like in scientists talking about the four fundamental forces, which is kind of also fundamental, physical systems. So this kind of goes similar to that way. Geshe-la talking about nganzu tawakadak chakje shi it goes to similar. But in regarding, the more close to, if you ask to the what kind of method of learning kind of Buddhist philosophy, we have kind of they call like three aspects of mode or four kind of reasoning or learning, contemplating, meditating, sort of that system. We also have that. Okay, last question is when you're talking regarding to the empirical, are you saying like Big Bang also at the 13 billion years ago, still we are accepting Big Bang happening? And also the origin of life, how it's from the origin of life. Are you saying there's also empirical, or it's a kind of that? Yes.
Yeah. So, Big Bang. Obviously, there's lots of evidence that points towards the Big Bang happening. When we look up in the sky and we can look at the distribution of microwave radiation, points directly to the theories that we've developed for cosmology. And so there's many supporting pieces of evidence. Even though we weren't there at the beginning of the Big Bang, it left signatures that we can see. And so yes, we have a lot of examples there. And I think for life, I would say as we look down the evolutionary tree and see how things have come out there's lots of evidence within evolution that points towards how life has evolved and how it has changed. So we have good evidence there that supports all of these things.
Yeah, one thing make sure. I can see the process of life, how evolved life is very clear. But what is the right of the beginning of the, or the origin of life? That's usually mistaken. Darwin's calling origin of, origin of species. That really is not talking about the origin, just talking about how to change over time. So my question is, what is the of the kind of origin or
the first cell or the first organism?
Right, and so we don't know the answer to that right now, but all of the signs point toward early evolution of that from primordial gases and things that were happening in the early formation of the Earth. But we don't know the answer because we haven't been able to replicate it, but people have made progress on that.
딩을 삼주카시 시디젤 티와시도 티와디 아니 단다 캐란쪽에 아니 단세릭 나로라 아니 원숨 그 통구리세 계신 부시우시라이도스 제가 아니 개다치면 그 남샤 나는 직된 통마 중레세야디 원숨 그 통여르베스 아니 단다 젠덴 주 상마 아니 잠불리디 간 중탕 깨제시인디 잠발라 젠덴기 아니 사스 오부 thongma di an keran son thongche ane di usum ki ane thobaji reverse la du zamba thiwadi gal gelan khala yor slavi bena res cheta ane nga zu kheda chemu chungwe kapsula jigne kham thangbu chungwe kapsula nga zu duste de yo mares imbe ne ya ane kheda chemu chungwe jigne thangbu chungwe kapsula chungwe ge je mangbo thanda sha sha ha de yores jishu parje thandal ha du yores parje denzo nganzu ki tanda ngusum chine thong tu yore parje denzo shile sha ne ane te yung du zambala chunglu chungda dinde ji le ha ane chunglu chungda shemba ane shegyu mewa di nganzu ki ane ta ha gu yo sonza ane dinde chine chungre da sig yores ta tiga na shi tanda thabung ki namsha ke ja shi yung du zambala ane thabung thangbu din zambulin di gal khadu chungre se di nganzu khadu chungwe me khande chungwe me nganzu ngusum thong yo mar di nganzu ha gu mares imbe na ya di chung chawe ge je chungrim ki rimba dil te yung be imbe na o dinde jingne chungna mato dili shembe ke chunggung shemba jingne yungay mewa ane dinde ki ane tanda yishu dinzul teche ane nga zo pengyu ki namsha se ada dinzul she yungu yores